I only trade Tesla. I'm sorry, but that's it. For the past, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, just Tesla only. And so what it did was cause me to be able to track it and understand how it moves. It's like being a doctor with just one patient. So I'm gonna know everything about this patient. And so I'll be able to take care of her very well. And so once you do that, on top of that, you got to deal with your emotions. So if you had 10 patients and then you're dealing with your emotions to help these patients, it's going to be tough,
Yeah.
right?
Welcome everybody to another funded trader of Trader Pool. Today, Tony is with me, funded trader of the 100K Flex. And you just reached the payout basically. So Tony, let's first of all, thanks for coming, of course. And
And thanks.
let's start with that. You know, always when traders get to that moment of payout, how it feels, what's the feeling going on inside when you get that?
Well, I can tell you, Mike. Well, first of all, thanks for having. It's good to be here. It's good to see you. I really appreciate what you're doing for the community. But you know, when you get that first payout, it hits you, and you work so hard to get to that point, and so many different emotions be flying through you, right? You
Yeah.
don't know which one to grab, you know? It's like a butterfly's flying around you and you got this big net and they all beautiful. So you don't know which one to grab. But the emotion that I took to was like, okay, finally, now let's get to work. Let's be serious about it because I think it clicks something in your mind. You know, once you receive, get to that point where it's almost like you practice so much in football and then you win your first game. You know, now it makes you want to practice that much harder. You know, it pushes you to the next level.
So that's amazing because you're saying incredible stuff. First of all, obviously the feeling of getting paid for what you already did, the hard work, right, pays off finally. But also it pushes you. Like when you see the money, it's actually pushing you to the next level to take it even further, to get more payouts and such. So I'm sure that's a great feeling. And I just approved, just the guys from the risk approved another big payout for one of our top traders, Hassan. And it's incredible to see his performance and is growing. Every paycheck is growing more and more, just reach more than 100K. So that's of a payout. So that's incredible. So Tony, let's, for the guys that didn't hear it before, how long you been trading?
I started trading roughly around the time that COVID hit, right around 22, because before then I was, business owner and COVID kind of affected the business a little to the point where I had to kind of sell a business and try to rethink in COVID. And so at that point, I started concentrating on trading a little bit more. And I did a lot of studying on it. And I wrote a book on it in 23 and published it, in 2023 because of all the studying and researching and understanding. And I just had to lay it out. And so since I'm laying it out, I might as well publish my information, right? And so I started around that time and got kind of serious about it at that point.
And it's incredible that, you know, COVID was a crisis for a lot of people in the world, right? Like you said, losing their businesses and their homes, etc. And it's always important to see the positive side of a crisis. So when it comes, you go and ask yourself, what do I need to do to take myself out of that? And you did it perfectly going into trading. So that's also congrats on that. That's an incredible move.
Thanks.
Probably not an easy task, of course. You know, especially when you go to that drawdown, to that crisis, through that crisis, and finding the rhythm to get yourself out of that. So let's talk about trading. What do you do? What do you love to trade? How do you trade it? Tell us a little bit more.
Oh my goodness, man. I only trade Tesla. I'm sorry, but that's it. For the past, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, just Tesla only. And so what it did was cause me to be able to track it and understand how it moves. It's like being a doctor with just one patient,
Hmm.
right? So I'm gonna know everything about this patient, and so I'll be able to take care of her very well. And so once you do that, on top of that, you got to deal with your emotions. So if you had 10 patients and then you're dealing with your emotions to help these patients, it's going to be tough,
Yeah.
right? Because a lot of times doctors deal with knowledge and information to deal with patients, not emotions. So it's easier to deal with patients with knowledge. But if you're dealing with the lack of knowledge and your emotions going haywire, it's kind of difficult. So I concentrate just on Tesla, and due to its volatility, it moves up and down in great staunches, meaning like on average, it moves $10 to $20 a day, 70% of the time,
That's
right?
incredible. I love the fact that you're focusing on one asset. But I gotta ask you, is it something that you knew from the beginning that you're gonna just focus on one asset, or you decided along the way, okay, I need to take one Tesla and just examine that?
No, no, that came to me through back testing, like my research when I started. Because I used to chase after the small caps and try to fade them after they do the pump and dumps and all that good stuff. And
Yeah.
I felt like I couldn't learn from that. I wanted to, enhance my knowledge first before I, went off into other things. Like in the future, I plan to get into options and stuff like that. But I wanted to learn as much as I can about one, aspect of it of trading and concentrated solely on that first before I could move on to anything else. And just so happened, I'm still learning, as you can see. I'm still learning. So once I
Yeah.
finish, get to the point where I feel like I can move on to maybe going into small caps or trading futures and stuff like that, I probably would do it at a later date. But right now, I'm just concentrating on Tesla right now.
So, you've been doing it for long enough to examine Tesla, right? Give us tips on how to trade Tesla. What does the asset, how it moves, what we need to look into when it comes to trading that?
Okay. Well, with Tesla, as I told you, you have to watch it, concentrate on it first of all. Think about, hey, I'm going to look at Tesla, right? Then if I was you, I would go back and do a back test, because I went back almost like 2 years of charts, right? And
Hmm.
you look at each one of those charts and you put your price levels on, right? And once you do that, it requires work. You're going to see a pattern. And then what you do is you try to watch when that pattern is occurring, right? And Tesla patterns occur in sites with the news, meaning when you hear certain news like every quarter, whether they win or beat the quarter or miss the quarter, Tesla's going to move a certain way. And it's going to move between $20, $30 around the quarter time, around when they're about to report. But
Okay.
in between those times, Tesla is moving anywhere, like I told you, from $10 to $20 a day. Meaning that's a big area to be able to, if I'm only trying to get $1.50 or $2 out of a stock and I'm
Yeah.
good and it's moving $15. You should It doesn't take a rocket, a well-trained trader to be able to do that. I mean, you don't need as much skills if the stock is moving $15 and you're trying to get $1.50.
Hmm.
It doesn't take that much to be able to do that. So what I've been doing, Mike, is I just been going in with my price levels already marked off. And when they hit certain price levels, the market is cyclical, so it's going to go up and down. So if it hits a low price level and it doesn't break through it, then it's going to reverse and go back and hit the other price level. Right? So if you have a price level at $300, $300. That's a hard price level where it's a lot of support. You're going to see support right there. The buyer's going to come back in, right? And it goes up to 318 or $320, right? If you was looking at it at $300 and you watching the charts, you paying attention to your candles, and you get a hammer candle, and then the next candle that come out, whether it's a 1 minute or a 5 minute candle, if that comes out and makes a new high, and you only trying to get $1 or $2, and the stock moves $10, you know right there you can jump in there, get your dollar, your $2, and get out and close your computer. I mean, that's the way I'm doing it now. Is once I make what I'm trying to make, try to stop trading and just call it for the day, right? And so that's what I would advise people. I would advise just to take your time, do it that way for a while until you be able to move on to trying to switch from this stock to that stock. And I'm just trying to, I guess, build myself up in the gym, if you will, mentally. And I use Tesla to do that.
Yeah, that's a good move because, as you said, when it goes $15, $20 a day, it's easier to take that $1.50 comparing to a stock that is only doing $1 a day average range of $1, and you need to take 30 cents, 50 cents, and such.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's 70% of the time it moves like that, Mike. Now the other 20 to 30% is amazing, because even the other 20 to 30% that's left, she's moving $2 to $5, right? So if you can catch it inside that 70% range, then you may be good enough to get $4 or $5 out of that stock, right? Now, what I will tell you, Mike, I will get my $2 or $3 in the morning, right? And then if I feel like it's a lot of volatility in the market and the market is moving for whatever reason, I will come back in what I call the afternoon trade and get another two or three, or $1 or $2 at that time. So in a day, my goal is to try to, if I could make $3 to $4 in a day, I'm the happiest guy in the world. But I don't act like that. I supposed to make that. So if I make my $1.50 and I'm not feeling too cool, I won't come back in the afternoon, if you understand what I mean.
yeah, definitely. Would you say that you're more of a discretionary trader, or you have a set of specific rules, like a systematic way to trade?
Yeah, I have a set of different rules, very systematic trading strategy, which there's a million strategies out there, but just my particular strategy is set a certain way. And the only hard part I find about it, Mike, and you can tell me about this, is sticking to that particular strategy, like not getting away from it. When you see other things, because this knowledge that we have in the market, it causes us to be able to see certain trends and certain patterns, and it'll make us move in a certain way. Like our emotions will click. Like when you
Yeah.
see the first green candle make a new high, that's going up. But if that's not your strategy, how do you not trade it? So sticking to it, to your strategy, is one of the hardest parts I find.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, the market is always in front of us, moving up and down, and you just want to get in. It makes sense. And of course, the best possible scenario will be to stick to your guns and actually execute on what exactly that you already know that works. But not an easy task for sure. Tony, I'm going to share my screen and show your dashboard. So for those of you not familiar, every trader gets his own dashboard. The dashboard will show you your stats, the risk parameters, and you can really understand your progress and look at your equity curve. You can also check your achievements and payouts and customize your view, switch between light mode and dark mode. First time you've been funded and you reach the payout, which is incredible, $4,000 of payout, which is really great. You're currently trading in the Flex 25 on the evaluation. You're getting it probably today. You will get to the target, right? You
Yeah.
already did most of your challenge. Let's go here for a second. So you need to reach 1500, trading 25K of buying power. Of course, not breaking any of the rules. So it looks pretty strong. 100% of success rate. This is definitely a killer. Here you started to trade also CRWV. What's your point on that?
Yeah, that one right there, it moves kind of weird. It kind of jumped up on me. It went from like $99.45 all the way up to $125.10. So
Yeah.
when something moves that crazy, that fast, I kind of look at it for the fade around the same time frame that I would be fading Tesla. So
Okay.
so I was messing around with that on that account, but on the 100K account, I was actually looking at Tesla.
So Tesla all the way, you shorting it, but also go from time to time go long. But you
Right.
definitely prefer the short side, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Tell me a little bit about that. What's so interesting about going short on Tesla comparing to long?
Again, it's muscle memory. I'm building a muscle because I know how easy it is to go, to go long, buy the dip and follow the crowd on the long side. But I want to kind of master shorten the stock. When is the stock is going to fade? When is it going to short? And so I'm working on that side of it right now, as far as being able to try to develop that short skill, because the buying skill, I think is pretty easy. Buy low, sell high. I just find it a little harder to short stocks, and so I'm trying to stick to it for a little bit. But you see, I've been doing a little bit of buying, but again, that was what we were talking about, sticking to the strategy. Because if I'm on a short strategy, I should not have no buys in there, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And your numbers are incredible to say, right? You got 83% success rate. The risk reward is very low, very negative, very low. But when you have such a high success rate, your risk reward can be lower. Of
Well,
course, this
you
is something that I would, as a trader, I would focus on increasing the risk reward here. Although you have high success rate, there will be times in the market when Tesla wouldn't work correctly, and it will be maybe 70% or 65%, and then you need the risk reward to give you that extra buffer.
You know that risk reward jumps around a lot throughout each trade, and one of the reasons why it's like that is because of that right there. Because
Yeah,
of me allowing the drawdown to be hit instead of you know getting out prior to that happening, and
true.
that's why that looks that way.
Yeah,
But it's always something to work on, and that's something I'm working on now.
it's amazing. Alrighty, Tony. So before we finish here, you've been with Trader Pool, traded already, yeah, been with us for enough time. What would you say to someone who's just listening right now?
Well, I would say I love trade the pool. I think it's a great concept, and I like the guys that's dealing with it. I like their vibes, how they approach the market, how they approach being a helper to the retail traders out there. It's like you can tell that they were in our shoes at one time, and they decided to bring some of the things that they thought was best for day trading and prop firms in the market. I've seen a lot of prop firms out there, and I could tell you that trade the pool is at the top. For me, it's number one, as far as all the research and out there. So I enjoy with the live on YouTube in the morning, trading live with Mike and Money Mitch.
Yeah,
It's fun experience, and I look to actually growing with the company.
amazing. Thanks so much for the kind words. And that's it, guys. If you want to check us out, go to tradethepool.com. Hopefully, you will be the next funded trader. See you on the next video. Take care.
Peace.